of the Stacking Adventure Show. She's Crystal.
And I'm Joe. He's Joe.
She's both. Crystal, I can't wait for this interview.
Me too. What is it?
Well, why don't we just hit record so you can be part of the show? Please ask our guest, Kathrin and Nathan, questions along the way about their tour. If there's something that you feel like we missed, what we love about doing these live is that you're able to be an interviewer too, if you want, or if you have a similar experience. We're going to talk about traveling down the Rhone River through France today. Ooh, la la. So if you have had experience with any of this stuff, feel free to chat and you'll hear yourself in the show. This will be live in just a couple of weeks. So anyway, I think that's it. You ready to do this?
Let's do it. Well, I'll save that.
All right.
I'll save my signature.
Save it. Yeah, save it.
For the signature moment.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crystal, how about today we cruise down the iconic Rhone River through France?
Parlez-vous français? Yes.
Spoken like a local.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I know you mistook me for the French immediately.
Adventures Nathan and Kathrin saw castles, cathedrals, and more as they cruised from Lyon to Avignon in France. And they're going to share what they loved and didn't love about their journey, including what happens when you have an emergency while you're on vacation. That's going to be a story in itself.
Ooh, I'm excited. Ooh la la. That's my French. Leave me alone.
Perfect. And that's all her French.
Right. Yeah, that's all you get. And let's be real, most travel gear out there is just plain awful. That's why we share our gear of the day at the end of each episode. So these are pieces that we've actually tested ourselves, or they actually come recommended from our fellow adventurers. So these are not just some random things you saw in a sketchy Facebook ad. So if you want tried and true gear that saves you money, makes your trip smoother, and helps you adventure smarter, check out our page at stackingadventures.com/gear of the day or GOTD. You'll be supporting the show and you will be setting yourself up with gear that's Crystal Joe Alicious. We're going to put that on a t-shirt. Put that in the Louvre. No, so they can steal it. No, don't.
I'm Crystal Joe Alicious. Yeah.
Crystal Joe Alicious. I like that. You're going to get a tramp stamp of that.
Did you hear, by the way, what the Louvre's password to their security was?
Oh, I heard it was like Louvre something or
it was,
1, 2, 3.
It was like Louvre.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, either Louvre or Louvre Museum. I can't remember which, but one of the two.
Darn.
It's
a failure
crazy.
at
All
best.
Right, Crystal.
Let's get this show on the road, Joe.
3, 2, 1. Music comes up, music goes down. Welcome back to the Stacking Adventures podcast. Every adventure has a story, and this is where we love to hear yours. She's Crystal Hammond.
And I'm Joe Salsihai. He's Joe Salsihai. Tricked me.
And we're so happy that you're here with us. And for the next 45 minutes, we're going to be talking to a couple adventures, Crystal, who had, well, it was part of a larger adventure. They actually went to Europe for a while, but as part of the adventure, they cruised down the Rhone River. Yeah, I don't think you have not been outside of Paris in France, have you?
No, not outside of Paris. Nope.
So this will be perfect. This will be like your preview.
I already want to go. Like, I am ready today to go. Like, I don't even need to pack. I'm ready.
Well, let's go today as we meet our adventurers from Portland, Oregon today. By way of France on this tour, Nathan and Kathrin are with us. How are you guys?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Hello, guys. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Joe.
I'm super happy that you're here. It was wonderful. I got to, Crystal, have dinner with these two lovely people. They hosted Cheryl and I and our friends as part of our adventure around Oregon. And they also, look what I got right in front of me, guys.
Nice.
What is it?
Well, they have this beautiful cookware company, doTERRA Cookware, which is just incredible. It is amazing. See, I got the brochure and everything.
But not the cookware, or you have to explain.
Do you guys want to explain what you do?
Well, that's one of the things that actually came a little bit from some of our travels a long time ago. So when we were traveling in Italy, because I have family there with our children who are 6 and 10 at the time, we spent some time there, and we discovered some ceramic nonstick that was healthier, that didn't have all the stuff that Teflon has in it, the fluorines. And so with our restaurant background and other things, we decided to design some pieces for the American market, and we started bringing that in 2016. And that was sort of a direct consequences of the travels we've been doing, because we are entrepreneurs and we've had a couple businesses, and we really wanted one that blended our passion for healthy family time and also travel, and gave us the ability to work online so that we could travel and still check in with work sometimes. So
Wow.
I want to ask in just a moment about family travel, but one more thing. And it's funny, as we were saying hello, I realized this was sitting in front of me. And the reason actually had nothing to do with this today. It's because you have on the back of it a recipe that I want to make. This is for pasta Vesuvio. Whose recipe is this?
Nathan pretty much made it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to make it. But let's get to this trip, guys. You guys have very definite feelings about how you travel. You've 2 sons, like Cheryl and I have 2 kids. Tell us about your feelings about travel and why you love to travel so much.
We just think travel is such a great opportunity to make the world a lot smaller. And, our kids have really grown. And, my older one turned out to be a history major because he got so interested in all the history that as we traveled that we learned. And so it's just been kind of fun to see the world through their eyes too, and see how it all kind of comes back around on a daily basis, even back once we're here. So yeah, we've just really enjoyed that experience for ourselves, but also seeing it through their eyes.
Well, and Kathrin, I mean, you guys as a family did a much bigger trip than the one we're going to talk about when your kids were much younger.
Yeah, we did 1 year. We backpacked around the world for a year with the kids. So yeah, we sold our stuff, sold all our house and all our stuff, and took backpacks out on the road and traveled to, I think we were about 25 countries that year. So
only 25 countries.
How old were they? Yeah, how old?
They were 6 and 10.
It was a great family. It was a great family sort of bonding. I mean, it was everything from all the planning that went in and keeping it a secret a little bit from too many people until we were ready to commit, and the garage sale where our 6-year-old sold all of his stuffed animals because we were going on a trip. So it was really fun. We had a great time.
Yeah.
He didn't think you were cruel. He knew it was because we were going.
No, he knew. I mean, he knew that for everything he sold, that was one more day we got to do this trip. Yeah. So, they were pretty aware of, the consequences. But, at the same time, there were things that we wouldn't have seen if we didn't have kids with us. As I'm focused on a Wat or a temple in Cambodia or something, he's looking at the beetle on the side of the road that's this amazing iridescent color. I mean, kids just see things that we don't. Yeah, but we don't see things that kids see, and so it was fun to see it through their eyes for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
This particular trip, taking a boat cruise through France. How did you decide to do this one?
Nathan's folks are huge Viking cruise fans, and they've been wanting us to do it with them for a long time. But Viking is 18 and up, and for 10 years we kept telling them we travel with our kids. So it really became when the youngest one is flown, that's when we'll go. And so a year and a half ago we booked it, knowing he'd be gone by August or September because he's off to university. So we booked it and just picked a place that we thought sounded fun, both food-wise, wine-wise, places neither of us had been before. So they've been multiple times, but this was our first cruise on Viking.
Yeah.
You've been on other river cruises though before.
First river cruise too.
Oh,
we've done,
really? Okay.
Yeah, we've done a lot of cruising, but not. This was the first river cruise, which was fun.
All ocean cruise, pretty much.
Well,
what
let's
is
talk
the
about
difference?
this because, yeah, thank you.
Because you would think, I think when I think of cruise, I think of this big monstrosity ocean liner looking with me and what 6,000 of my new friends, probably up to 20,000. So what was a river cruise like? The difference?
Well, at least in Europe, the rivers are a lot our canals are used a lot, obviously, for transport, and their systems have lock systems as the rivers go down and up, so they can get cargo and people back and forth. So they are very strict specifications, and I didn't look them up, but I would say maybe 10 meters across or 15 meters across, 15, 20 yards across is the width that fits into the canal. In fact, when you go into the locks, so when you go into the lock, literally there's an inch or two on each side of the ship. So there's no clearance.
It was crazy how tight
stand
it
just go like, oh, there's the side right there. And you go into this big cement box.
Feels like a tunnel.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
And then, then they close it behind you, and then slowly the water rises and the boat goes up and you go through. So by nature, they're long and skinny. And they tend to be, ours was 175 people.
Yeah.
I've heard of smaller and a little larger, but it's not much larger. Also, a lot of the rivers, some of the bridges are ancient, and the clearance over the river is not very high, very small, in fact. And we have some fun stories about that, but there's not the ability to go high like a mega ship like they do in the ocean, So it is a more intimate, by nature, a little more intimate type of cruise. So.
Did you get to meet any people then? I mean, you're on the 7,000 person vessel like Crystal's talking about. It's one thing, but when there's only 175 people, it seems like there might be some opportunities to get to know some of the other passengers.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. You end up sitting at big tables, and then you meet the same people over and over, like during the meals, I think purposefully they have tables of 8. So you're, even though we were traveling with his folks, we'd end up sitting down with some other couples, and
it was choices really whether you would or not. You weren't forced to sit with different people, but yeah, there was a lot of opportunity to meet different travelers. So that's part of the fun.
Where were they from mostly? Did you notice?
So Viking, I think, really markets to the North American market. And that was really unusual for us, actually, is that there were mainly Americans, and I think there were 2 Canadians.
Yeah.
That was wow. I was really surprised because all the other cruises we've done, it's a very international mix. So it was interesting that a lot of them, they're at California and East Coast, and yeah.
I think it was one of the things that surprised us. It was a little to us a negative that we didn't have as much diversity, and because that's a lot of what we like is experiencing different cultures, different people. So it was a little uniform for us, but it was everybody was very nice. Nice people.
Yeah. And the staff was pretty international. There wasn't some cruise lines you go and there's mainly service staff from Indonesia or something, whatever. This one was pretty eclectic mix of service staff, which was fun too, though.
Yeah, that was fun.
Everybody was very nice.
When I took the river cruise for the Christmas markets down the Danube, we were on Emerald, and we did have people, because I'm thinking as you're talking, was ours international? And then I remember the funnest people on the ship were from Newfoundland. So the Newfoundlanders were crazy. And then we sat with people from the UK. There were some people from Australia. It was all English speakers, so they must have marketed it as an English speaker cruise. But it was much more international. So that is kind of surprising.
I think it's Viking specific.
Yeah. The other thing that I heard about Viking that I've wondered about, because Viking tends to market to an older crowd of people, I've heard from some people that the ships are a little sedate, meaning I don't want a party vessel. I don't need a Carnival Cruise Line. I'm 57 years old, but I also don't want to be tucking in at 8:30, right? I'm on vacation. Nathan, I've met your dad. Your dad is not the guy who goes to bed at 8:30. He doesn't strike me that way anyway. But did you find it to be a very sedate, very calm cruise, or was there a party flair? Like, tell me about that.
Definitely not a party flair. Yeah, I would say it's a more sedate one, just by nature of it being either, I don't know if it was Viking or maybe specific to river cruises. They don't have a big theater with, big events and, special artists that come in and get on and off the ship. I mean, there were some few, like couple musicians each night after dinner kind of thing, but it pretty much wound down by 10:30 or something.
No big dance areas. Like at the bar, the dance area was like a table. It's not a tabletop. It was quite small. So
not to say he was not dancing on the table.
Not on the table,
no,
but we were dancing.
I'm so disappointed. So disappointed.
Exactly. So we did. I would say cruises seem to have a lot of their own flavor, and it's not just the size of the ship. It's I think the line and what they're trying to do, what their purpose tends to be.
But also the nature of river cruises.
Yeah,
too.
and I agree. The nature of river cruises is a little more sedate, a little less adventuresome. It's an adventure, and different people have different adventure levels. So yeah. I think it's a great way for people to experience, especially even North Americans, to experience a different culture, a different area they don't know, and maybe wouldn't be comfortable tackling on their own. So, it is a little bit more sedate, but on the other hand, they did things like they had free walking tours for every stop. They had free walking tours with local guides.
They were amazing.
This is something also different, I feel, that with the river cruises, is because the river cruise boat seems to basically goes back and forth on the small amount of river for a season. So they really do have a lot of relationships and know each port, even if not everybody not all the crew knows every port, but you get a lot more depth, I think, than you get with the ocean liners, who really vary their itinerary, which has its pluses and minuses. They certainly have tour guides as well, or things like that, or hire local tour guides. But this, I felt, that was one of its big highlights to me, was that aspect that we talked to like a 84-year-old
woman
who was a tour guide. Amazing story.
Wow. She was great.
Yeah. But it's a good one for its flavor. Is that a little bit older, I would say, and a little more sedate, but still a nice cruise and fun to do.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be
a lot of time off the boat.
Well, we did, because that's usually, as soon as we landed, we were like, let's go see the town, or whatever. So we did a lot of time off the boat when it wasn't. But the fun part about a river cruise is, as even when you're moving, you can look out and see the towns on either side, which is so different than ocean, where you don't really get to see what you're going through, so much. So.
It is, when I think about Viking, I also think about white glove treatment. One more thing about Viking before we start talking about the different ports that you went to is you mentioned that Viking, that the river cruise is actually a little more casual than you thought it was going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we've done, several different cruises, and most of them were, a lot of them were dress up at night, and this one said elegant something, business elegance or something. And in the end, it wasn't all that, it was pretty casual in the dining rooms at night and things like that. So, yeah, we overpacked.
You started in Lyon.
Always.
And you made your way to Avignon. How many different ports of call were there for the boat?
It was actually the opposite. We started in Avignon and ended in Lyon.
We went north,
and went north.
Okay. Yeah. But gosh, there was a couple days where we actually hit 2 ports. So
yeah, it's a little hard to say. It was about, maybe I would say about 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Because we started in Avignon, but then the first day we actually went south to Arles, which has some ancient Roman architecture and stuff like that, and then went back up to Avignon, and then hit.
And then continued north from there.
Yeah,
and but the last 2 days we were actually in Lyon. The boat was docked in Lyon. So we actually had 2 days in the same port that day, those 2 days. So
which was great. There's a lot to explore there. So
well,
How
let's
long
start
was the
there.
total.
Yeah, Crystal.
it was 7 nights.
Okay. 7.
So let's start there. Let's start in Avignon, guys. Tell people that have never been to Avignon what it's like.
Avignon's a really neat old walled city, and they still have the old bridge that got half destroyed, so it's still sticking out in the water there. That's from whatever.
Medieval times.
Yeah, exactly.
There's songs for the Bridge of Avignon, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
There's children's songs and stuff.
And then, but there's a big, huge papal palace there where actually the Pope in the 1300s actually escaped Rome and moved and was actually in Avignon for a while, which I had never heard before this trip.
Oh, that's right. There were two popes for a while.
For, I don't know, 100 years. Kathrin maybe looked it up, but something. And they built in 30, in that small amount of time, they built huge. This smaller city became a little Rome almost, all these churches, hundreds of churches.
Yeah, beautiful. Really beautiful.
Wealth and stuff moved up there. So it's very interesting.
The any good restaurants we should hit while we're in Avignon or that you hit?
No, I mean, not that there were bad restaurants. We arrived late at night. We had breakfast at our hotel the next day, and then we,
it was
got on the ship. Actually, that was really a fun thing about, most of the ships that we've been on, they're like, okay, you can board the ship between 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. or something like that. And and it's like this, cattle as you go in or whatever. And this was kind of like, we showed up at noon to say, hey, can we leave our bags here? They're like, have lunch while you're here, whatever, come on in, your room's ready, so they were very kind and very accommodating. So we were able to get on the boat right away, I think.
Yeah, it was more hotel-esque feeling to the check-in, whereas in ocean cruisers, it's much more a getting your identity, getting all your passport, all your stuff that gives you your ship's card. And a lot of that's because they're international. They're going from place to place, and they're very strict on who comes on board and not, right? They don't let anybody else who's not supposed to be there. These are a little less strict. It's sort of funny because how riverboats work is when they're docked, if there's a riverboat there, they'll pull up next to it and you walk through the lobby of the other boat.
Or so there's another one.
So you go through. And so it's they're a little less, I'm not saying there's not security because there is, but it's just a little bit different than ocean cruises. You can't just go on any ocean cruise and go look at what the boat's like.
Right.
The only place on your entire itinerary that I've been to is actually Avignon. And I also found that the whole Pope stuff was interesting, all that history. And the fact that from the top of that hill where the castle was, you had this beautiful view of the surrounding countryside. It was also really pretty from there.
Yeah.
It was
very pretty,
super nice.
Yeah.
I do remember which felt kind of out of place close to the entrance where we were going in and out of the city was an Irish bar. I was like, of all places, it just didn't feel right to have an Irish bar in this beautiful historic walled city of Avignon. Let's do one more thing before the halfway point, which is let's sail down the river. You said you went to Arles next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Arles was great. It's the home of a Roman arena, which is kind of like a Colosseum, but the Colosseum's in Rome, so you're not allowed to call it a Colosseum. But it was beautiful, and it was actually the whole thing. I mean, it was well preserved and, same era, but it was absolutely gorgeous and really fun. And what was really neat, like we were saying, Viking actually has free excursions every day, which is, as a family traveler where we don't usually sign up for cruise excursions because they get expensive when you multiply them by 4.
Yeah.
So for us though, we were like, oh, free ones, we'll sign up. So we signed up for everything, and they had great walking tours that included entrance to the Popal Palace and the RL Arena and things like that. So it was really fun to have the extra little excursions every day with amazing guides. So that was really fun.
That's cool too, because you get to skip the lines. I mean, for us at the palace, at the Papal Palace, there was a line to get in when we were there.
Right. Yeah. No, we went in the back door.
Yeah, the group entrance area. Yeah. And in Europe, the guides are also, every guide I asked went to school to be a guide. Like they have
hospitality
training. So a couple of years of a school. And, they were like, oh yeah, well, like in the Papal Palace in Avignon, our guide was like, yeah, like last month they took us down to all the guys down to the crypt, or where also the Pope bathed or something.
And the wine was down.
So like there's sort of ongoing education, obviously, opportunities for these tour guides, which was really interesting.
That's fascinating. We've got the music coming up, Crystal. That means we're at the halfway point.
Joe. No, just kidding. We're halfway through today's show, everybody. So that's what we call our road trip pit stop. So on the pit stop, you're always dreaming about, okay, what's at the end of the adventure? Are we there yet? How cool would it be to just press fast forward and boom, we're at our destination. So our actual pit stop is a hint at our gear of the day. And you can see our past gear of the day at stackingadventures.com/GOTD. So today, Kathrin and Nathan have our hint at our gear of the day. What's our hint?
Okay.
We tried to stay cruise specific.
Yeah, this is a very cruise specific item. And I don't even know where I wrote down some things, but this really helped us have sort of expand. It made our closet bigger. Cruise.
It made your closet bigger.
Do you want to give
this is like a standard cruise cabin, like a little tiny, no balconies or balconies.
No balconies.
No balconies.
And you had mentioned in the prep, by the way, that like us on Emerald, the staterooms were not big.
They were not big.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Made our closet bigger.
Crystal and I are going to think about it for a moment, and we'll be right back. All right, we'll put the ad break there. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so the hint was that it made the closet in a tiny cruise. Sledgehammer. That's my guess. That'll definitely make a closet bigger.
They take sledgehammers on all their cruises.
Yeah.
Do you usually travel with a sledgehammer?
Of course, don't you all?
The neighbors don't like it, but hey, it's not their cruise. I think it's going to be some type of packing cube. I think it's going to be some
or
packing.
that thing that you hang. You know that thing that you hang? It's a flat box. But then when you hang it, it's accordion style.
Oh.
Gives you squares.
Oh.
That thing. I don't know what it's called.
Well, we will see
I keep my
at the end.
socks in one of those.
We'll see at the end of today's cruise up the Rhone River as we move toward Lyon. Crystal, you want to take over the captain's seat for the second half?
I want to back up because we totally forgot to talk about the planning. Like, where did you fly to and from? How did you book? How expensive or non-expensive was it? Can we rewind? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. Well, we are travel hackers and we don't pay for flights. We always do the points and miles thing. And, this was a little trickier because there were 4 of us, but, we made sure to use our points and miles. And Viking actually does a really nice job of helping you book the airlines. And then they'll babysit you the whole entire way, which again, for Americans in their 70s is, a nice perk for sure. But because I don't like to pay for tickets, we opted to do our own booking. So we flew into Avignon the night before, and then we had the evening and the whole day in Avignon before the boat left. So that was really fun. I actually, when I booked it, I didn't realize that we were going to have a second day in Avignon on the way back up. So this way we got 2 days in Avignon, which was fun. So yeah.
You flew direct from the West Coast?
No, West Coast to London, and then London down to Avignon.
To Marseille.
Marseille, yeah.
Okay.
And then from Marseille, we took a train to Avignon.
Got it. Okay.
Do you try to upgrade when you go across the pond?
Usually not, because we want the more points and miles we have, then more trips we get to take, and not
Right.
Right. No, yeah.
It's always the great conundrum.
right.
We're about to go on another Christmas markets cruise, and we're taking my mom, and she just has so many aches and pains that we decided to upgrade to premium economy to kind of go halfway to give her a little more
That's
room.
perfect. Yeah.
But that's always the thing. It's so much more expensive to upgrade the trip. Curious about that.
Can be. So on to Arles, right? After Arles, what was next? And then what's the time frame in between stops?
They were only, some of them were only like an hour or two apart from each other. So
okay.
you did actually have time on the ship. Often they travel in the middle of the night, but you'd have time on the ship in the afternoons if you were hitting a morning port and an afternoon port where you could, sit up on deck and watch the towns go by, which was fun. Or Nathan kind of touched on, sorry, I'm going a different direction, but he touched on the fact that we went under a lot of really low bridges, and all the railings on the top fold down because some of the bridges are so low that the railings fold down, so that if you're on top, they say you have to sit you can stay up here, but you have to sit on the ground. And even sitting on the ground, we could reach up and touch the bridges. So it was great. He would have been bonked over if he had been standing. So it was fascinating to go under all these bridges and through the locks, and all that was really fun part of a river cruise. After Arles, we went back up to Avignon, spent another day there. And then what were some of the other ports?
Vivienne, which was really, that's where our 82-year-old guide was. It's, again, really fascinating. So this whole area, if you remember, during World War II, fell to the Nazis in a sort of a sequence, right? First, they just came and got Paris in the north of France, but not really this area. That came later. And this woman, so we get off the ship and there's, I don't know, maybe 50 people taking these tours. And so they're groups of 10 or 15 go off with different guides. And ours happened to be this older lady. She looked about 60, which was my guess. But she's white hair, and our, Vivienne was a really small, like 5,000 person town, but it was on top of a hill. I mean, really, like a lot of the European cities, so you go up and there's pretty much no cars because they're really small, narrow places. And this lady just starts off really funny. So we're at the ship by the river, and you have to walk up this really pretty shaded lane. And her first comments are, "Oh, look at these stupid speed bumps. The last mayor put these in, speed bumps. There's like 10 cars in the city and there's speed bumps down there." And then so she has all these comments on
she was a spitfire.
This mayor had done, this other mayor put up a sign in the wrong place. And she's like, that's not the house that it's talking about. It's talking about the house next door. And so she was just a spitfire. And she actually had a lot of stories. So during the war, they were part of sort of like an underground railroad, helping people not necessarily escape, but helping a lot of like British pilots who would be down get back north to England. And her aunt's house was one of these houses where there were secret rooms and tunnels for that. And she now lives in her aunt's house. And it was really fascinating.
She had a lot of history. She knew people. Her aunt was resistance fighter. And then we found out that one of the other
Wow.
tours that we didn't sign up for in Viking, one of the other tours was actually this lady giving a tour of her home that afternoon.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
would have been really amazing because she had sure a lot to share. So that was really, really fun.
That's good to
Tell them
know.
about the person, one of the people who was on our tour. a
Oh,
few years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah. She was actually told us a story about a man who was on her tour, an older man that was on her tour that said, yeah, I know which house is yours. You helped me during the war. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
chills.
I went through her aunt's house. Yeah.
Ah,
Crazy. I mean, this was not now.
Wow.
I mean, this must have been 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh my
Ended up,
God.
she was 82.
Or something,
So
mid
84,
80s,
it was
maybe.
like-
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah.
She was out in front by far.
Yeah. She was zooming up
Oh,
these
yeah.
hills and
I'm just glad I wasn't the mayor in that town.
About to get an
To
earful.
made her mad. It pissed her off. Yeah.
Anyway,
doesn't-
great
doesn't
tour
suffer
guides for
fools.
sure. Yeah.
That sounds like a really good bonus. All right. So after Vivienne.
Oh, now you're putting us on the spot.
Yeah,
There
we
was-
should.
We can skip.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, there are several places. One of the ports we went to, it's the not the Ardennes. I always want to say that.
The room. What?
No, the
Oh.
forested area. So the west of the Rhone, there's an area that's really known as a wilderness area. There's not really many roads. There used to be a train that would go through it. And they, so what that excursion was is we took a bus up to the only train that goes through is now just a tourist train. It was redone about 10 years ago and goes pretty much through all these really mountainous areas where you might see a house, maybe. Or the guide who said, yeah, in high school, kids would come up here and, have picnics along this river because it's so remote. But there really are very few people there. And
Wow.
that was really interesting to see, sort of a very wilderness area.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then there was the Coliseum that we just stopped. We had one port that we were only in from like 8 to 10 p.m. at night. And they
Oh.
toured us around, and it was if you did the tour, you could go in. A lot of people didn't because it was getting late and conflicted with dinner. Maybe it was even later than that. But and we saw that like Coliseum, like Pantheon building that was all lit up at night, and
Oh, yeah.
also really old Roman architecture, but perfectly still remaining because it was
Wow.
in the middle of small town France. So, it didn't get hit during the war. So it was beautiful. That was neat. And then, like we said, the last couple of days were in Lyon. So that was nice. Great tours. Lyon's fascinating. Also had a lot of like hidden secret passageways through the town where, some of the guides claim they, snuck the resistance fighters around. And, they also had Viking had somebody come from the museum and speak on the history of Lyon and the area, which was great for one afternoon coffee kind of hour, which was fun. And so we learned a lot and spent a lot of time.
Lyon was very fascinating. It's very, you don't realize it. It is sort of only an hour or two from Switzerland. And surprisingly, it has a lot of Alsatian and sort of the Swiss influence. Some of the dishes there was a whole big plate of sauerkraut with sausages, honestly.
Wow.
That's one of their famous
France.
dishes in Lyon. Yeah, very, very much so. And they also, it was the center for a lot of the Maquis, which is the resistance fighters the French resistance fighters during World War II when they were occupied. And so there was a lot of stuff going on there. That's where, the SS set up their headquarters and things like that. So it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of that was historically fascinating, but Lyon is really fun. A lot of food, lots of.
That said, every
markets.
city we
Yeah.
went in claimed they were the gastronomy capital of the area.
Nice. Well, that was my next transition, was to food and drink and dessert. Like,
Yes.
what were your the good?
Well, you can't go wrong with a French bakery.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we found those at any place we could.
Yes.
That's
But
always
Lyon-
Cheryl's first stop.
Yeah, exactly. Lyon was great. Our favorite restaurant, I think, on the trip was Brasserie George or St. George?
George, I think.
Brasserie George. And it's been around since the 1800s. And it's this big, huge room, but it's super ornate, beautiful. But it felt like, I don't know if you guys remember Farrell's ice cream, where you would, if somebody had a birthday, suddenly there was ding, 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 ding. I swear. And then, in this place, it was this huge room, and they would dim the lights and walk out with, looked like a baked Alaska to us, I think it was a baked Alaska, with, sparkler on it or something, and then they do a quick happy birthday, and that must have happened 12 times in the 2 hours we were there. So clearly, this is the place you go for your birthday in Lyon. So
I miss those.
Yeah. It was a brasserie style, and I guess, and what it really was, that's one of the places where we had the sauerkraut. It's a beer place, and you don't really think of there being beer places there in France, but it was, it was huge and very sort of noisy in that sort of brasserie way, where you have fun, lots of stuff, people sitting close to you. We chatted with people next to us, on the next table. A lot of signature dishes were advised, different food to try. A lot of different things. So it was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does sound like you ran into locals out off the ship. Is that more true? Were there a lot of locals at the places?
Oh, yeah.
Locals for sure. But brasserie, I think we were sitting, the first round was the table next to us was German. And they came because they wanted beef tartare, which apparently is illegal in Germany, which we didn't know that.
Really?
So they come to France, so they eat their beef tartare.
Yes. German, government doesn't want their people to do anything, risk anything. I don't know. It was really hilarious.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a fun beer hall.
I'm just thinking of the German accent, like, your meat shall be cooked. I don't know. Horrible.
Exactly.
Horrible. You're also wine lovers. So this area, we mentioned before we went live that I didn't get rosés until I was in Provence. And all of a sudden you're having these wonderful rosés in the beautiful weather there. And I thought, oh my goodness, now I get it. Like any great wines?
Sure.
Yeah, we had a lot of good ones.
The ship, this is really important actually, is that Viking actually has free wine at meals, free drinks with meals. And so that was really,
the ship.
I know, right? So that was really fun. And Crystal had asked about food. Viking also, they do a really good job of having like regional dishes each night from wherever they are. So, there was bouillabaisse and chicken provençal and some of those things that were fun, and the wine. So of course the free wine on the ship is not fancy, expensive stuff, but it was still fun to try different things. And, but then of course off the ship, we tried, the cruise also does a lot of tours to wineries because they know that's something fun that Americans like to do. So, I'm not sure that we signed up. We didn't sign up for any wine tours, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but certainly there's plenty of opportunities to get good food and wine on.
Wait a minute, that surprises me though. The two of you wouldn't sign up for any of the winery tours.
Well, you didn't want us to talk about how the second half of our trip when we were in Italy, and we actually had a lot of wine tours scheduled then. So.
Lots of wineries, lots of wine experience.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I will mention is that we do speak the language a little bit, French and Italian. So that does help. Like when we're out and about, like when we were talking to people at Brasserie, some were English, like the German folks spoke.
But that place, they would have spoken English. It was a touristy enough.
Yeah, but some of the folks next to us didn't speak English.
That's true.
So having not having a little bit of the language is helpful. I'm not fluent, but I can have conversations with people at tables. So that's helpful.
Got it.
It's so funny, Nathan. I immediately thought about how, a lot of Americans think that Parisians especially can be fairly rude, especially if you don't speak the language. I never found that to be the case. What I did see, though, was when I was in Marseille, our waiter was treating us fantastic at this restaurant. This German couple sat down next to it. It became very clear a lot of French people do not like German people at all. They got the worst treat. These German people, Crystal, got the worst treatment from this wonderful waiter. The guy was great to us, and he would turn around and be so absolutely snide just 100% snide to the Germans behind me.
Oh no.
Yeah, we certainly found that the French people were very, very nice and open in this area of France for sure. I've experienced Paris being a little bit to that
hit or miss, but
hit or miss. But this area was great.
Yeah.
The only part of Paris where I found them to be rude was almost like people are rude in Manhattan, where I kind of expect it. And that was in the very touristy areas of Paris where I felt like they were equal opportunity rude to us. You know,
Exactly.
I wanted to ask a little bit about the countryside as you were sailing toward Lyon, and then let's talk about the big thing that happened in Lyon, which was pretty horrible. But when I was in Avignon, it was a lot of fields. It was kind of hilly. It wasn't mountainous, but it was hilly. But it was mostly agricultural. Did you find that to be the case all the way up the river? And did you see crumbling castles as you were coming down the river?
I think definitely countryside, definitely castles. I'm not sure that they were crumbling. A lot of church steeples for sure. Yeah.
It definitely, I think the Rhone was sort of a border for a lot of time. It was a natural border, right? So sometimes it was between, this is where
towns on one side and agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture on one side and towns on another, or where there'd be some fortresses like Avignon was before, that were on that eastern side. So there was natural boundary between different kingdoms. I can't talk about which kingdoms. I don't remember, but there was definitely, this was ruled by this king, or then this was, a bishop owned all this, so that's why there's these forts that were there and broken down. The west side, a lot of it was more rough terrain as you got norther, and that's where that wildness area is, that even today doesn't really have trains or roads through it. And so definitely the agriculture was there. A lot are on the eastern bank, though.
God, I don't know. It just sounds so beautiful, so peaceful.
Mm-hmm. It was.
All right, so you're in Lyon, and this is the thing people never want, which is, I'm in a foreign country and I need some medical help. What happened?
Well, my mom, who's I'm 75. I'm sorry, I'm 55.
It's like, wow,
oh,
Nathan.
Good.
And my dad, of course, were with us. But my mom developed a cough, like started with a cold, and it got to the point where she was coughing so badly that she was having trouble breathing, and she wasn't sleeping like at all. And so we tried over-the-counter things. But when we got to Lyon, we were like, okay, she needs to go to a doctor. So the ship, showed us where the hospital was. So we went up to the hospital and had to take her to the hospital. So we sat through some. Because I'm the one who speaks French, I went and sat with her, in basically an emergency room situation, and we waited for many hours, and finally did get in. And with the language help, we were able to sort of tell them what we needed, and they were very thorough. Took blood samples, X-rays of her chest. Found, definitely diagnosed her with a lung infection. So they gave her antibiotics and started her sort of on the path to getting better, which was great. All in all, it was very thorough. We had chosen not to get supplemental insurance, which actually was okay, because all in all, it was like $200 for the extra.
$200.
And the antibiotics were, $15 or something like that. So very, it worked out very well. It wasn't an emergency, like you had to fly her somewhere. That was good. But yeah, we got her started to get on those antibiotics so that she could eventually, took a few days, get some sleep. So that was good. It did put some dent in her trip, and a little bit on ours, slowed us down a little bit. But, we're choosing to spend this time that we can with our parents too, while they can, and do stuff. And that's important to us too.
And how much time? So that was while this was at the end?
Yeah, luckily this was in Avignon, which we were, or Lyon, which we were in 2 nights there. So, even though he was at the hospital till whatever, 10 o'clock at night, it was still, we were docked there overnight. So it didn't become an issue. Yeah.
Okay.
And unlike a lot of the big ocean ships, Viking does not have any medical facilities at all or a doctor on board or anything. But when we asked about it the night before, he's like, yeah, there's a hospital across the street. It opens at 8:30. You know, like, I mean, they knew exactly
Knew it.
the doctor's name. No, not really. But, you
Oh,
know, that
good.
obviously they were familiar with, you know, how to get help in each port. So
I think that goes back then, Kathrin, to what Nathan said earlier about these guys know every inch of this river because it's all they're doing.
True. It's right
Yeah.
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the fun part is you bring home like the souvenirs, tchotchkes. Like that's my favorite part of trips is shopping and souvenirs.
Well, because we're normally backpackers, we have a limit on what we can bring back. And
good.
so we started a tradition with our boys that we collect things to hang on the Christmas tree. So we, in Japan, sometimes it was, you know, little, little charms from the shrines or, you know, whatever, or if nothing else, keychains work really well. So we have collected from a lot of different cities around the world on every trip, keychains. So we have the coolest Christmas tree, you guys.
Things from all over the world, from
Yeah.
Malaysia to Prague to Dresden.
Yeah.
To,
So that's what I ended up buying. That's really, I buy postcards
Fun.
to send home, and then I have my keychains or something to hang on the tree.
a Christmas tree.
So we're not big shoppers.
What a
That's
great way to
awesome.
remember the area, though. Well,
Yeah.
I would think too, Kathrin, you can get over time. You must get really picky about like which ornaments going home.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Have something that we did in a town that we really liked. And, you know, it can't just be, you know, lavender in Avignon. It has to be lavender with a Popal Palace that we did.
Aw.
But it's great. We've got
So every year, so we don't have to have it collecting dust, like you said, tchotchkes all year, but then every December we get them out and we talk, this
Memories.
which ones go on the tree. That's the hard part, you know, because we can't put everything on the tree. But at least it's not tons of boxes, you know, it's relatively
Right.
small pieces. So that's good.
That's true. That's a good
Not so
idea. Very
breakable.
good idea.
Yeah, not like a glass boat or whatever you brought back recently. So. Did you have a sailboat or something from your last trip that you brought back? Oh, you're going to show it to us.
Oh,
Oh,
That's
beautiful.
cool though. That's fancy.
It is beautiful, but to your point, it
is.
took up way too much room. After all the packaging, it was crazy. Well, and we did the Christmas markets, and we're doing the Christmas markets again. We generally bring home our Christmas gifts
Sure.
from the Christmas markets as well,
Perfect.
because they're so original and so different. It's like an Etsy shop in every city you go to, you
Yep.
know? And so we brought home that stuff. And I will say that like my mom's beautiful angel, we brought her home last time, broke. It was in pieces. when we
Oh,
got
I'm
it out of the bag.
sorry.
Yeah, so this time we decided instead of bringing the angel home for mom, we got to bring mom to the angel, which is what we're
Oh,
gonna do.
perfect.
Perfect.
She can pick her own angel. And
Absolutely. She can break it all on her own, Kathy.
Exactly.
All right. Well, that is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for sharing your journey
Bravo.
with us. And as the music comes back up, it's time for the Gear of the Day reveal. Crystal said it was a sledgehammer.
Sledgehammer.
No, you
I
had a
wanna
better
be
you
in
had a
my
better
own
guess.
voice. Yeah. Oh, the accordion thing.
And mine was some type of packing cube. So it's time for the big reveal. Kathrin, Nathan, what's our gear of the day?
Kathrin discovered.
Yeah. So, little known fact that most cruise ships all tend to be magnetic. Or they're steel. I'm sorry. The walls are all magnetic. So I don't know if you can see it, but we have a hook. It's a magnetic hook. And these little hooks actually work on every surface in your room.
Oh.
So we have like a dozen of these or 20 of these that we have in a little box, and you can hang it on the walls, the ceiling or whatever. So,
and they're strong magnets, you know, they'll hang a jacket, no problem.
yeah.
And gives you lots more space.
Especially, you know, like we said, we're used to traveling with a family, and when you get 4 people in a cabin, you run out a closet real quick. So this kind of opens it up. And, you know, during COVID, we did do a trip in New Zealand during COVID on a ship, and we had all our masks lined up by the front door, you know, like whatever. It gives you a lot more room to hang baseball caps and jackets. And
Wow.
And for most of our audience, you know, most people aren't hanging out with us live, so they're just getting the audio. That's like 2 inches, right?
Yeah, it's like 2 inches of little, a magnet with a little swivel hook. I mean, it's a little nothing, but it's easy to pack. Doesn't break, and is very useful if you're on a cruise in that situation.
Crystal, I would have never thought of that in a
Me
million years. I would have never thought
neither.
about it.
And that's so
If
useful.
you don't know the walls are all magnetic, you wouldn't know. I mean, like,
True.
but they're great. And like I said, we just have in a Ziploc bag, we have a dozen or 20 of them. And, when you have a wet swimming suit or something, you can have it all over.
Right.
Is it the same on the riverboats? Are they magnetic too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Catherine did some research, and some of it is for fire
Safety.
For fire safety.
Oh,
So it may not be all the surfaces, but a lot of them, the door frames, many cruises, all the ceilings. It was great.
I'm definitely getting those for our trip because I'm 3 weeks away from.
Oh yeah, definitely. They'll be.
Yeah. I got 2 jobs. Number 1, buy those hooks. Number 2, make pasta Vesuvio. So,
Ooh, yeah, send me that recipe.
I'm all set. I will.
That's
I'll take a picture. This looks
free with every pan.
Well, yeah, and the pans too. Send me that info.
Absolutely. Yeah. Beautiful stuff. Thank you so much. By the way, let's talk about your next trip. So where are you guys headed next?
We're actually going to New Orleans tomorrow to see family. So it's not for Bourbon Street, but we'll probably go get a beignet while we're there anyway.
You have to.
Yes. But we have a son in Houston, and so he's going to drive down, and then I have a cousin in New Orleans. So it's a quick, long weekend to visit family.
Yeah,
looking forward to
fabulous
sunshine. Yeah.
And we should, by the way, we'll link to it in the
Street
show notes. What's that, Crystal? I'm sorry.
Magazine Street in New Orleans. People don't know about that little fun area too.
Beautiful area.
Yeah. See?
We should, before we say goodbye, we should talk about where people can find the cookware as well.
DeTerraCucina.com or Amazon. Just look up DeTerra Cucina, Cucina.
We'll link to it in the show notes as
our travel blog. We haven't updated in a long time, but we did blog when we were traveling, and our kids, as part of their homeschool, posted, and that's takingthebigbreak.com. So
Taking the Big Break.
Yeah.
We'll link to that. We'll link to that as well. Well, you guys got to get back on it. Cheryl and I are just beginning, so we got to, trade stories back and forth.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I'm sure we'll see you in another part of the world somewhere. Yeah.
Absolutely, guys. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Super time, Crystal. I learned not just about the hooks, but I'm ready for my next river cruise. How about you?
My first, yeah, definitely. In Georgetown, we have, I did the CNO, the Chesapeake in Ohio. They have the canal, so they had a free tour over the summer. And they told us and they showed us how, they would fill it with water. You enter, the gates close.
The whole lock system.
Then it rises. Yeah. And but they have it's a functioning one here in Georgetown. So if you guys are in the area, they have one where you can see it. And it is cool just to imagine, what that they used to ship and all the stuff and the people. Fun times.
I decided, because it was vacation, Crystal, to take a nap one day while we were on our Christmas markets cruise. I wake up because I just hear a noise. I turn to the window and it's black because we're in the middle of a lock. I didn't know what the hell was going down. If the ship was going down, all of a sudden I'm on the Titanic in the middle of the Danube.
The panic.
No idea. But you guys are right. The wall was right there.
Yeah.
It was
crazy.
Right there. It was
so
awesome.
narrow.
That's scary.
All right, Nathan and Kathrin, thank you so much.
She's
Crystal.
Us.
Thanks. Pleasure meeting you too.
She's Crystal.
He's Joe.
Joe. Right. I'm Joe. He's Joe.
We'll see you next time. Keep adventuring, everybody.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Hold on one second, everybody. We'll say goodbye.